Oh, okay.
Yeah, they
Awesome.
swapped up a little bit. Yeah, it's gonna be Judge Law.
Okay, well, South Annex is ready as always.
Oh, I know. You sit on ready, okay?
Oh, I tried to
Indeed.
do my best.
Yes, and it shows.
Thank you.
It
Well, it's good
shows.
seeing you.
Good
And
seeing you too. We should be starting shortly, hopefully.
okay, it's just
Okay, gotcha.
my compadres, they probably say Milton is crazy. But
Oh,
I love my co-workers.
I know you do.
All right, my dear.
Okay, take care.
You too.
Bye-bye. Okay.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be the State Court of Fulton County Expedited Accusation Calendar. Today is September 21st, 2022 at 2 p.m. and we're going to be addressing misdemeanor cases in which individuals were recently arrested and their cases have been formally accused by the prosecutor's office, which is the Solicitor General's office of Fulton County. Being accused, the case is now with the state court. So this would be the defendant's initial appearance before a judicial officer. When I address your cases on a one-on-one basis, I will let the defendant know of your case number or your accusation number, the charges brought against you, who is your appointed counsel, set a bond if one has not been set previously, or reconsider your bond, as well as give you a court date if applicable. For most of you or some of you, your next court date will be October 4th, 2022 at 9 a.m. in courtroom G33. Most of these cases will be addressed via Zoom, but it will be in courtroom G33 at 160 Prior Street on October 4th at 9 a.m. Courtroom 2, did you just launch in? Did you hear the initial part of my announcement?
Yes, they heard the announcement, Judge.
Okay, thank you. When I address your cases on a one-on-one basis, I would like each defendant to remember these two very important rights. First one is the right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case, especially during this recorded, live-streamed virtual proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you, especially by the prosecutors who are present during these proceedings. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, I will appoint one of the attorneys from either the public defender's office or from the conflict defense list. All right.
Good morning. Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is the South Annex with position number 7.
Okay, thank you. We have Ms. Jaleesa Lemon accused of simple battery, domestic violence, and criminal trespass causing damage to property from September 17th, 2022. Ms. Lemon, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Elizabeth Hogue. Any priors, Mr. Tucson? First arrest? Okay.
Second.
I'm sorry, first or second?
Second.
All right, what happened the first time?
2017 misdemeanor possession of marijuana.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Duncan, good afternoon. And what are you recommending for Ms. Lemon?
Good afternoon, Judge Law. The state is recommending for Ms. Lemon a $3,000 total surety bond. That's $2,500 on the simple battery, family violence, and $500 on the criminal trespass. Given the facts in this case, Your Honor, we have a concern about the risk of reoffending. It was indicated in the warrant that these two were in a relationship, and when they were in an argument and she was told to leave, she became violent with The victim in this case is Mr. Michael, common spelling, Die. And when he told her to leave his groceries and give his key back, she pulled him by his hair and then went upstairs and broke windows in his home. And she admitted to officers at the time of arrest to doing both of these things and was taken into custody at that time. Given the violence alleged and the nature of the offenses, we do have some concern about the risk of reoffense, given that there is a relationship here. So we're going to ask for no further contact, given that we were not able to make contact with Mr. Die for his safety. We're going to ask that she stay away from this location, which is 4245 Scott Circle. According to the documentation, that is his residence. We're going to ask for 1 day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. Nothing further from the state.
All right, thank you. Ms. Hogue, I'm going to grant a $3,000 signature bond on the simple battery and $500 on the criminal trespass. The total bond is $3,500. It is a signature bond through pretrial services. She is to have no further contact with Mr. Michael Die. She's to stay 200 yards away from him, not communicate with him in person, not communicate with him through a third party, through a cell phone, a computer device, or discuss him on social media. And this stay away will be enforced until another order is issued. She's also to vacate the premises at 4245 Scott Circle in East Point, Georgia. She may return one time only with a police officer to retrieve her personal belongings, after which she cannot return to that location. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. She will be subject to random screens by pretrial. She will also attend and complete a 1 day anger awareness program with the pretrial services. She will report to pretrial once a month, and failure to do so will result in her bond being revoked. If she gets arrested again, or if she violates any of the other conditions of the bond, then her bond will be revoked. Do you have any questions about your bond, Ms. Lemon? All right. Her next court date will be sent to her at her new address. So within 30 days of being released, she must update us with her new address, and she will have to come down to 160 Pryor Street at the Fulton County State Court to update her address with the clerk's office. Understood?
Yes, Your Honor. If I may, Mr. Die has reached out to me, the victim in this case. I do believe he does want contact. I'm trying to see if he can get on this particular call. Would you allow that at this point for him to get on and say whatever he'd like to say about regarding contacts? I do believe they share this residence.
Will the host confirm if Mr. Die is in the waiting room?
Well, no, I'm just right now trying to send him the link, Your Honor.
All
at
right,
this point.
if he shows up, then I'll reconsider, but presently, Ms. Lemon, until I hear otherwise, the bond is denied, the contact is as I've indicated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next case, please.
Good afternoon,
Courtroom 2.
This is going to be position 5, Mr. Fields. He has a private attorney case.
I noticed, okay. This is Claude Fields III, case number 22 CR 006403G. Mr. Fields has been accused of battery, domestic violence, and cruelty in the third degree from a July 28, 2022 incident. Mr. Fields, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Serge Jerome Jr. I am familiar with the other open case. Are there any prior convictions with regards to Mr. Fields? Mr. Howard?
No.
All right, thank you. Ms. Duncan, I read the warrant and I'm familiar with the other underlying open case from February of 2022. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yes, Your Honor, the state would like to request that pretrial services come off of that bond related to the other open case, given that this is a subsequent case against the same victim. As Your Honor is aware of the allegations in the warrant, the state is going to be requesting a $7,500 surety bond. And we believe that in this case, it's more than reasonable given the pattern of escalating violence that is happening between these two parties. We're going to ask for no further contact with the victim in this case. And we're going to ask for no further contact with the child minor AF until there's a parenting plan through Superior Court. Even though we have some information that may indicate that they are married, we still think that is an important step to take precaution to protect the child that was involved In this instance, we're going to also request a parenting class, a stay away from the incident location. We were not able to make contact with the victim at this time. And the incident location is 1612 Ocala Avenue Southwest. We're also going to be requesting 2 weeks of anger management, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, no further violations of Georgia law, given the risk of reoffense that's obvious here, Your Honor, and the possible intimidation of this witness, given the status of their relationship and that there was a physical injury and subsequent attack after being told to stay away by Judge Mincy earlier this year. Nothing further from the state.
Thank you. Mr. Jerome, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
All right, and what is your recommendation for Mr. Fields?
Your Honor, I mean, I understand where the state is coming from in this. I just have one question. Was there a no contact or no violent contact on the previous bond from the February case?
No further contact under case number 22 CR 000-852G. First thing I looked at.
All right. So yeah, and Mr. Fields, I've already discussed the situation with Mr. Fields. He understands it completely. I just want to remind the court that Mr. Fields is innocent until proven guilty. I understand the state's position. They're representing their client, which is the victim in this case. However, Mr. Fields vehemently basically disputes essentially the entire accusation here, and basically says that the entire accusation is essentially made up in its retaliation for, I guess, some type of money, you know, I guess maybe an extortion scheme. I just wanted to get more money out of him or something to that extent. But either way, regardless, we understand that the accusation is out there. We understand the probable cause is out there. He has been arrested, and we're just asking him to have an opportunity to be released. You know, we can only go off of what we have in front of us, and I understand that, and he understands that. I do not believe that removing the bond that is currently in place and increasing that is warranted. Mr. Fields is already hurting financially, which is why what he claims got him into this situation. However, we're just asking for a reasonable bond in consideration of the charges in front of you. And in furtherance that, we're asking for $1,500 on the battery charge and $1,500 on the cruelty to children. He will report to pretrial services. He'll take the family violence intervention classes, and you know, and the no contact. I guess he's okay with no contact. However, he states that he doesn't initiate contact. He's always the recipient of contact. So I don't know how the court wants to handle that, or if there is a mechanism for the court to make sure that neither party contacts each other.
And Your Honor, just to state the obvious here, the previous pretrial bond was $3,000, and less than 5 months later, he's back reoffending with the same victim. So the state thinks his request is more than reasonable under these circumstances. Nothing further. And the pattern of violence is escalating from grabbing to punching and having children involved with visible injuries. Nothing
Okay,
further.
thank you. So Mr. Fields and Mr. Jerome, just some background information. The prior open case, 22 CR 000-852G. The bond order was issued on February 19th, 2022. It was a $3,000 signature bond for pretrial services, and it expressly says no further contact with Diane Gondu, which means that under any circumstances, even if she initiates contact, it's very common sense knowledge that he cannot engage, and he actually has to not respond to any contact from the victim. He's to stay away from her. He's not to communicate with her. The only provision, the only contact that was allowed was a third-party transfer of any child or children that they share, which means that a third party has to communicate between the two of them with regards to transfer or visitation with regards to any child or children. Unfortunately, because of this new arrest, the $3,000 signature bond is revoked and converts to a $3,000 surety bond. And that's a matter that would have to be addressed before Judge Mather, if he chooses to do so. Which, by the way, he has a court date before Judge Mather on October 11th, 2022. I don't know if that is Judge Mather's jail cases or non-jail cases, but in either event, this is information for Mr. Jerome. So given that, and given this current arrest, the Solicitor General's office is also under a duty to report this matter to the District Attorney's office to see if there is a possible charge for aggravated stalking for violation of a no further contact order. So that is something that the Solicitor General's office can take up if they choose to do so. Now, with regards to the case that's before me, with regards to the battery, that's going to be a $2,500 cash bond only. With regards to the cruelty charge, that's going to be a $1,000 cash bond only. His total bond for the new case is $3,500. It is a cash bond only. The next court date is October 4th, 2022. And Ms. Bridgewater, we will bring both cases forward for the SAP calendar, which is the current case as well as the other underlying companion case. And that's going to be October 4th, 2022 at 9 a.m. for the SAP calendar if Mr. Fields does not make bond. Conditions to the bond, and I cannot explain this any clearer. No further contact with Diane Gondu, and the additional one is no further contact with any child or children that he shares with Miss Gondu. If he seeks to have any kind of, I'm a little uncertain if you are married. So if they are not married, then Mr. Fields can file a legitimation action to establish visitation of custody. Otherwise, he can go to Superior Court in a separation action to seek visitation of custody. I'm not certain which route because I don't know his marital status. But no further contact definitely at this time, which means he has to stay 200 yards away from Ms. Gondu and the children or the child. He cannot communicate with them in person through a third party. He cannot communicate with them through a cell phone, electronic device, through all social media. There's absolutely no contact. If they initiate contact, he is under a court order to refrain from responding to that contact and actually has to close it out. No alcohol, no drugs, no illegal drugs, no weapons and no firearms. And he is, if he does make bond, within 30 days of being released, he will enroll and start attending a 6-month domestic violence intervention program, a program that he will pay at his own expense. Any questions, Mr. Jerome?
So, Your Honor, all right. As far as the classes that he has to take, Your Honor, how long does he have to take those?
That's a 6-month. It's a domestic violence intervention program. You can consult with the Solicitor General's office or with pretrial services. It's normally, you only have to go to a qualified program and he would have to take the classes in person.
Okay. All right, Your Honor. No further questions.
Next court date's October 4th if he doesn't make bond, and we will address both cases at the same time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 4, Mr. Cox.
Yes, Your Honor, if I may, real quickly, Mr. Dye from position 7 is on here whenever you get a chance. He'd like to speak regarding the contacts for position 7, Jaleesa Lemons.
All right. Mr. Tavares Cox, we will be with you very shortly. Mr. Dye, please unmute. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony provided will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Was there an altercation between you and Miss Lemon on September 17, 2022?
It was, yes, but it was verbal.
Listen very carefully. Was their property damaged as a result of this altercation?
Yes.
Did you cause the damage?
No.
All right. Now, Why do you want contact with Miss Lemon?
I love her.
Understood. Anything else?
Yes. I want to clear her name and make sure everybody understand that she's not really a violent person. We both was going through an emotional state, and with our living situation, it just caused a lot of stress. And one day it just boiled over. And, you know, it was something so small that we could have talked about, and it just ended up something else. And then once the police was involved, the only thing I was trying to do was make sure I didn't end up in jail, and I wasn't trying to incriminate her.
Okay, understood. Ms. Hope, do you have a response?
Yes, Your Honor. Based on this and the fact that they have been together for 3 years now, Your Honor, this has seemed to be an isolated incident for them. She has no history of violence. He does want contact. They do share this residence. So I would, everything else aside, everything's fine, but we would like to have no further violent contact and her ability to stay there.
Ms.
And
Duncan?
I would just object to that, Your Honor, given that this incident did occur because the defendant in this case said that she became angry. And given what the victim in this case has stated, their living situation is one in which can cause some anger to result. So we would think that it would be best for the no further contact to stay in place at this time, Your Honor. Nothing further from the state.
Ms. Duncan, I have a couple more cases on this calendar where windows were broken. So I quite frankly do not recall what window was broken. Was it the apartment window? Was it a car window?
The documents indicate that there was an upstairs window broken as well as some glass
Okay, thank
because
you.
she was angry.
And Mr. Dye, do you rent or own the property where the window was broken?
I rent the property, but it was no window broken at all.
I just asked you who caused the damage, and you said it wasn't you.
No, it was a cup that was thrown out the window, not a window being broken.
All right, I'll let the police resolve that. I'm going to maintain the same order, and I'll tell you why, Mr. Dye. When a case gets to a point of domestic violence and the police get involved, especially one that just occurred a few days ago, the decision as to whether we pursue the prosecution and as to whether we keep the parties involved separated until there's a sufficient cooling off time is a decision with the courts and with law enforcement, specifically the prosecution's office. And at this juncture, given how recent the events were, given the fact that the line was crossed and allegedly there was property damage, according to the sworn warrant of the police, the court is inclined to maintain the no further contact and the stay away. After 30 days or so, if Mr. Dye, you still believe that Ms. Lemon is that you still believe that you feel safe with her, Ms. Hogue or the Public Defender's Office can file a motion to have the bond order amended to allow her to return to the property and to have no further violent contact with you. But given the recent events and the allegations, especially involving the property damage, I believe the line has crossed. I do understand your feelings, but once your personal business is now court business, you've put the matter within the jurisdiction of the court. Understood?
Yeah, I understand.
Thank you. The order remains as issued. Let's move on to Mr. Cox.
One question before I didn't know if she
Quickly.
Mr. Dye, I'll be glad to explain things to you after this, okay? I think I can probably cover everything you need.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Case number 22CR0063918. Tavares Cox is accused of battery domestic violence on July 9th, 2022. Mr. Cox, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Hogue. Mr. Tucson, any priors? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was looking at something.
Okay.
6 total. Last arrest was in January for obstruction, possession of tools for the commission of a crime. He don't have any violence, but he's on probation. 2 counts of entering auto with intent to commit theft or felony and theft by taking. That's 18 SC 156805. Possession of cocaine with intent. 18 SC 158873. And he got some bench warrants.
From these,
18 SCs, yeah. It's on the
SC 158873.
yes. And 158210. 156805.
So he has 2 open felony cases and 1 open probation case?
We got 3 bench warrants on here. I mean, they may be probations, but they hold either way.
Okay. All right, Ms. Duncan?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident did occur at 236 Merritts Avenue Northwest. Merritts is spelled MERRITTS. And it was apartment 301. In this instance, officers did arrive and they talked to the victim, in this case, Miss Jamaica Rogers, Jakema, JAKEMA Rogers, common spelling. She stated to officers that she had gotten in an altercation with her boyfriend, whom she had been living with for 2 months. In this case, we have a concern about the risk of reoffense, Your Honor, as it is stated that they were in a relationship. We weren't able to make contact with the victim, and she did state that she did not want to prosecute. However, we have a concern about the risk of intimidation of this witness, given that the severity of the injuries alleged. Officers notated that she came outside crying profusely, and the blood was running so hard and fast that it was going down her face, onto her neck, into her shirt. And even though the victim doesn't want to prosecute, she did feel at the time it was necessary to go to the hospital to seek medical attention. Even though her story has changed, we want to make sure that, you know, there's no intimidation involved. We want to protect the safety of this victim. We also have a concern about this defendant's likelihood to respond to the legal process. As Your Honor has heard from pretrial, this defendant is no stranger to the legal process. And we do have some concerns about flight risk, given that he has those open bench warrants as well as the open felony cases. And while we understand he does not have any violent convictions, however, this defendant is a severe risk of reoffending, and it seems that the offense, given this thing, is going towards a violent nature, and this is somewhat serious given that there was blood involved in injury. So we're going to be requesting a $4,500 surety bond, since it seems that the $4,000 good bond that he received back in January wasn't enough to keep him from violating the law. So we're going to $4,500. No further contact with Jakema Rogers. Stay away from that location. I believe that's her location. A one-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. Nothing further from the state.
All right, thank you. Ms. Hope?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Cox is 21 years old, Your Honor. He is a native Atlantan. He's been here all of his life. His entire family is here. His mother, his father, several sisters and brothers. He also has a child here, the 1-year-old child. So he has significant ties to the community here. He is not a flight risk. He is not leaving the state. He will be showing up for court, Your Honor. So we do not believe that in that regard that he is a flight risk whatsoever. As we said, he has significance here. He also works here. He works for Uber Eats right now. He was working for True Green. So, Your Honor, he also has a 12th grade education from Washington High School. So as far as that goes, he does have significant contacts. As far as his criminal history goes, as was pointed out, it's not a violent criminal history. He does have a theft and he does have a drugs, but he does not have a violent criminal history. My understanding also, Your Honor, is that he and Miss Rogers do not live together. So they are not together right now, but they are seeing each other and would like to continue to be able to see each other. This incident happened over 2 months ago. And since then they have been seeing each other. There's been no incidents. There's been nothing. It's obviously more than sufficient time for any type of a cooling off process. And so while they're not living together and have no intent on living together, they would like to see each other. At this time, Your Honor, we would be requesting a $2,000 surety bond, Your Honor. We do believe that's more than ample to secure his appearance at court, especially based on, well, he does have felonies, Your Honor. He doesn't have any violence. And given that he has a child that he is helping to support, and he'll also be in jail now for quite some time, or for more time, because he does have the probation hold. So we do believe that $2,000 surety bond is more than sufficient at this time.
Bond set at $1,500 is a surety bond. No further contact with Jakima Rogers. If she does not live at 236 Merritt's Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia, he may return to the property. He will need to go there with a police officer the first time, one-time visit, to verify that she does not live there, and then he may be permitted to live at the property. His next court date is October 4th.
Position 2, Aaron's.
Your Honor, I believe Ms. Rogers is on the line.
Oh, there she is. Okay, Ms. Rogers, good afternoon. Okay, yes, would you like to say something?
Yes,
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
yes,
What would you like to say?
yes. I was inquiring about us being in contact with each other. It was just a one-time incident, and having nothing happened ever since.
Understood. All right.
And
He doesn't qualify for a signature bond because he's got multiple felony cases open.
understand.
And I'm putting in no further contact until he's had a time to resolve and cool off and understand that he cannot be arrested while he's got other cases open.
Okay.
Because I have a feeling, just based on his track record, there's a likelihood to reoffend, which is the element I have to consider.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Who do I have next, please? Courtroom 2, Mr. Aarons.
Yes, that's correct, Judge.
Sean Alfred Aarons is accused of criminal trespass and damage to property from September 20th, 2022 at the Paparazzi nightclub. Never heard of that place. All right. Case number 22 CR 006389J. Mr. Aarons, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is presently Ms. Hogue. Mr. Tucson?
Second arrest, 2012, open container. That was out of South Carolina. He's a resident of South Carolina.
Okay, thank you.
All I have.
Ms. Duncan?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident did occur at the Paparazzi nightclub located at 3177 Peachtree Road Northeast. Officers indicated that they responded because a male had gained access to the roof and was breaking the windows. Given this defendant's limited criminal history, the state is going to be requesting a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services to stay away from the Paparazzi nightclub. 1 day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. Nothing further from the state.
Thank you. Ms. Hogue?
We have no problem with the recommendation, Your Honor. We do believe a signature bond is warranted. He deeply regrets this incident, wants to put it behind him, and wants to start working towards rectifying the whole situation.
Yeah. $1,000 signature bond through pretrial. He may, well, any objection through the jail?
No, Your Honor, no objection through the jail, Your Honor.
Well, I was asking Ms. Duncan, I'm
Oh.
sorry.
Sorry.
The state will prefer he be monitored, however, we'll defer to the court.
It's $1,000 signature bond through the jail. He is to stay away from the Paparazzi nightclub at 3177 Peachtree Road in Atlanta, Georgia. And he will maintain a current address with the courts at all time. If he, we will send him a court summons to his current address. Do we have it, Ms. Hogue, his current mailing address in South Carolina?
Yes, we do, Your Honor, as well as I have his email address and all his phone numbers, which I will be also maintaining contact with him with.
All right. If he changes address, we are the first folks to find out, because if he misses a court date, we issue an invitation. It's called a bench warrant, and it happens to go nationwide. Thank you.
Position 15, trailer.
Sorry, see that? This is Dexter Leon Trailer, accused of theft by taking from November 4th, 2021, case number 22 CR 006404C. Mr. Trailer, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Hogue. Actually, Ms. Kim, Ms. Kim. All right, thank you.
No problem.
And Mr. Tucson, any priors, please?
His third arrest. Last was 2007 for dumping waste. That's it.
That's it. Okay, Ms. Falk, how do you feel about a bond? I'm sorry, you're on mute, Ms. Falk?
$3,000 signature bond through pretrial services, Your Honor. Stay away from 3422 Cascade Park Boulevard Southwest. No further contact with Kyna Black, who's the victim in this case. That is Kyna Black, common spelling. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. He took $80 worth of children's clothing from outside of her residence. I believe it's called porch poaching, I think. And the defendant and the vehicle were captured on video surveillance. I would just like to remind everybody, they're Ring cameras now. They capture everything. So just a public service announcement.
Oh, thank you. All right. Mr. Trailer, your bond is going to be set at $2,500. It is a signature bond through pretrial services. You will report to pretrial once a month. You are to stay away from 3422 Cascade Boulevard in Atlanta, Georgia. You're not to be anywhere near that location, and no contact with Kyna Black, no illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. If you get arrested again for anything else, please remember to bring $2,500 plus some change to bond out the next time. Don't forget to report to pretrial every month and maintain a current mailing address with us at all times. Thank you.
Thank you.
Position 14, Thomas.
Hi there. Mr. Thomas has been accused of loitering and prowling in 22 CR 006-400C from September 19, 2022. Mr. Thomas, again, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Ms. Kim. Mr. Tucson, any priors?
12 total. Last arrest was 2021, battery conviction, probation. 2021 trespass conviction, failure to appear. Shoplifting conviction, 2021. 2020 battery DV. 2015 DUI. He also has history out of Alabama.
Does he have a Cobb County hold, by the way? I see a Cobb hold.
I don't know where it's on. It might be. Is it on the booking sheet?
At least that's where I saw.
Oh, well. He may. I don't know.
All right.
See it on the GCRC.
Miss Falk?
Yes, Your Honor, I can confirm he does have that Cobb County hold and is currently waiting, I believe, to be sent to Cobb County once his case is resolved here.
Mhm.
So the state's recommendation on this is a $2,000 surety bond. Stay away from 600 Garson Drive Northeast. That's the Tuscany at Lindbergh apartment. So we are asking for a stay away from the entirety of that apartment building. And we are asking for no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. This defendant was at that location, seen pulling on door handles, attempting to gain access into the apartment units. When officers gave him the opportunity to dispel any alarm, as loitering and prowling is required to do, he stated he was at the location meeting somebody by the name of Timothy. However, the property manager, Juliet Booth, confirmed there is no 1400 building, which is where he said he was going, and there is no male by the name of Timothy in the 1100 building where he was actually located pulling on the door handles. A resident of the apartment complex provided, yet again, Ring video camera footage, which confirmed that the defendant was pulling on multiple apartment units trying to gain access, including that of the person who provided the video.
All right.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Donnell Thomas is 35 years old, and he has been here in Georgia for about 11 years. He has his mother and his cousins and nephews, niece. He has a ties to the community, and he cannot be flying out anywhere because he will have to be picked up by Cobb County, and he has not had any employment for the last few months. We would like to request for signature bond and then be sent to Cobb County, Your Honor.
All right.
Thanks.
A bond is set at $1,000. It is a surety bond. And if he makes bond, he cannot be released. He can only be released to the Cobb County authorities. He's also, once he makes bond as well, and if he is released from Cobb County, he shall stay 200 yards away from the entire apartment complex at 600 Garson Drive in Northeast Atlanta. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. Next court date is October 4th.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next case, please. Yes, Mr. Thomas?
Yes, ma'am.
Please remain silent. You have every right to remain silent. I'll give you a call, so maybe you can ask me all the questions.
It was just about the bond.
Yes, sir.
I don't have the money to provide the bond, so that means I would have to sit in here until October.
Yes, you will remain at the Fulton County Jail until October 4th, at which time the attorney from the Public Defender's Office will speak to you about your options.
Okay.
Thank you.
Position 9, Rickett.
This is State versus Benjamin Joseph Rickett. Mr. Rickett is accused of battery, domestic violence from July 29th, 2022. Mr. Rickett, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case or any other cases, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and presently you're represented by attorney Ms. Kim. Mr. Toussaint, any priors with regards to Mr. Rickett?
15 total.
Repeat that again, please.
15.
Okay.
2020 reckless conduct, pointing pistol at another. Battery DV, second or subsequent conviction. Cruelty in the second degree. 2019 ag battery DV, trespass.
Are those open cases in Fulton County or other jurisdictions?
The ag battery is open in Coweta. I do have some additional information on that one.
All right. And the one involving the cruelty in the second degree?
That was here in Fulton County, and it was dismissed in actually this month.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Mr. Howard?
Yeah. Shelley, you want to get the rest of the history?
My apologies, Mr. Howard. I didn't mean to step on your toes.
Okay.
We have probation violations in 2014, 2015, 2017, FTAs in 2012 and 2013, family violence battery NOLO in 2014, and obstructing or hindering persons making emergency telephone calls, cruelty to children, third degree 2014, cruelty to animals 2012. The 12, 14, and 14 cases are all convictions.
Thank you. Mr. Howard, anything else to supplement?
No.
Thank you. Ms. Falk, I've already read the warrant. I do see Ms. Goddard is present on the video. What's your bond recommendation?
So the recommendation here is a $6,000 surety bond. Stay away from the victim in this case, Ms. Tomoko, and I may be mispronouncing her name, Goddard, Tomoko Goddard. We are also asking for no further contact, a stay away order from 990 Lena Street, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Even though this happened back July 29th of 2022, the concerns that we have are still the same. So the case that was dismissed out of Fulton County, he was given a $35,000 surety bond on that case. And it was during this time while he was out on that surety bond that he committed this new offense. So although the case is dismissed as of September 2022, this incident still happened while he was currently out on bond on that reckless conduct, pointing a gun, family violence, battery, and cruelty to children. It was, however, with a different victim. We also have an aggravated battery from 2020 out of Coweta County, which he is currently still out on bond on, against his parent, Angelo Rickett. He bench warranted on that case in June 2022, but that bench warrant was later vacated once he appeared in court. We also have that 2019 family violence battery out of Coweta as well. Unfortunately, I could not find additional information on who the victim was in that case. That, coupled with a previous family violence battery from 2014 and the cruelty to children, third degree, and obstructing telephone call in 2014, as well as those probation violations in 14, 15, 17, I feel like make him a very concerning risk of not only reoffense, but of appearing in court. Obviously, this was quite a severe attack, being that she had bleeding and a laceration and was struck in the head by the wall when he grabbed her by the legs and yanked her. And so for all of those reasons, we are asking for that $6,000 surety bond with the conditions.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe that Tomoko Goddard is at the court. That's what I heard.
She's on Zoom, yes.
She's on the Zoom. Can we let her go first?
Certainly.
Sure.
Ms. Goddard, this is Judge Law. If you'd like to say anything, I'll be glad to hear your input, but I need to place you under oath. Would you like to contribute?
Yes, please.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I swear.
All right. How do you know Mr. Rickett?
We've been in a relationship for almost 4 years.
All right. And this was an incident from July of 2022?
Yes.
All right. And were you all living together at that time?
Yes, we just moved in.
Okay. And what would you like to tell me?
The situation was I honestly provoked it. So I work a very stressful job, and we were arguing over dishes, and the situation actually he was actually trying to prevent me from harming myself because of some glass that had fallen on the floor accidentally. So when the incident happened, I suffer from some anxiety from overstress, and I did not recognize the situation as it was. And Benjamin was protecting me from any self-harm. And when the other accusations I had reported to the officer happened, it was also an attempt to keep me from harming myself.
All right. Anything else?
I just feel like the full story hasn't been portrayed. I don't think the police officer was able to get the full information just because I was so very much had an anxiety attack. And then when I had the call from the detective, she was very poignant with her questions and not asking me the full story of what happened.
With regards to, I guess you're referring to the September 14th conversation you had with the officer?
Yes.
All right. Anything else?
I would like to recant the statement I gave to the officer and hopefully dismiss this, because I believe I was a participant in what was happening.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You may mute your screen. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Mr. Benjamin Rickett is 33 years old, and he has been here in Georgia for 9 years, and they have been dating about 4 years. And Mr. Benjamin has one child with another lady, and his son is 4 years old. And I guess Miss Tomoko, who is a girlfriend, has been also participating in raising a boy together. Mr. Rickett has his own company, and he does property management. He's been doing that for about 7 years. And he also has associate degrees from college, and he was actually serving the Army from 2006 to 2008, and he honorably discharged. We would like to request for signature on bond, and yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because of open cases, and we would like to request for maximum $3,000 surety bond. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Goddard, I appreciate you appearing. It's very difficult to issue orders separating individuals. And I understand that you have a certain perspective of what transpired back in July of 2022. However, I also have to go by the diametrically opposite sworn report that was issued by the police officer, based not only on the body camera footage that was taken on July 29, 2022, but also based on the conversation that the officer had with you on September 14th, 2022. And given Mr. Rickett's very disturbing history of violence, it is very, very difficult for me to grant your request to allow contact as well as to warrant a dismissal of this case. The bond is going to be set at $3,000. It's going to be a surety bond on the battery domestic violence. The conditions to the bond are: first, no further contact with Tomoko Goddard. If Ms. Goddard is occupying the premises at 990 Lena Street, then Mr. Rickett shall not return to that property. He may go back one time only with a police officer to retrieve his personal belongings, as well as his child, as long as his child is not, if he has primary custody of the child in question, then he may retrieve his child. He's not to consume any illegal drugs, no weapons and no firearms, and he's not to consume any alcohol. We will. This is the other thing. I'm going to require Mr. Rickett to be equipped with an ankle monitor, and the monitoring services will be done, will be paid for by Mr. Rickett. And this is to assure that he does not violate the conditions of his bond and that he maintains distance from Ms. Goddard. If there are any subsequent arrests with regards to Mr. Rickett, I'll be very comfortable to place him in a no bond status. Yes, Mr. Rickett, I had noticed that you've been had to be equipped with an ankle monitor in 2020. Yes, and considering you have an open case for a violent offense, and that you've got a history of probation violations and failures to appear, and given the disturbing nature of the allegations set forth in the warrant, I'm very, very comfortable reissuing an order for an ankle monitoring.
I understand, Your Honor. I just wanted to say one thing. I do have.
Please do not comment about the facts of the case.
Yes, Your Honor. The case recently got dismissed. There's also the open case in Noonan that, according to my attorney, is going to be dismissed here.
Very good. Let's stop right there and tell me who's your attorney.
It's Richard. I have it all on my phone. He just recently got hired.
All right. Please forward that information to Ms. Kim so that Ms. Kim can let your attorney know about this new case And your attorney can decide whether he's going to represent you in this case as well, so that the public defender's office can withdraw.
And so there, never mind, there's, honestly, I'll just remain silent.
$3,000 surety bond and ankle monitoring. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 11, 12, and 13, Stephens. Stevens.
This is Antonio Stevens. He has 3 separate cases with us. Sorry, just one second. Oh, by the way, Mr. Rickett's next court date is October 4th, unless he makes bond. Okay, thank you. Antonio Stevens, first case, position 11 is 22 CR 006-395Y, accused of simple battery domestic violence from March 23rd, 2022. Second case is 22 CR 006-396Y, accused of battery domestic violence from March 24th, 2022. And the third case is position 13, State versus Stevens, 22 CR 006-397Y. And that is an accusation of battery domestic violence from August 15th, 2021. Mr. Stevens, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is going to be Ms. McLeod. Any priors, Mr. Toussaint?
Yeah, he got like 34. Shelly, you want to get a history? Since he got the open violence, you might be able to know whether it's the same victim. I'm not sure.
Can you give me his convictions at least for the last few years? 34 cycles?
I haven't gone through it because my coworker had it, because he got to go to felony.
Oh, I see. Not a problem. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. So he's actually currently out on a $28,000 bond for aggravated assault, strangulation, terroristic threats, cruelty to children in the 3rd degree, possession of firearm during commission of a felony, possession of firearm by a convicted felon. It was a $2,500 SOB and then a $3,000 straight bond through pretrial services. So we are asking that bond be revoked and converted to a surety bond. As part of that, the condition was that he was to have no physical contact with Antoinette Davis, who's the victim in our case, other than by phone, abide by a DFAX plan considering supervision, and stay away from Lola Davis, who is a different individual. So he also has, let me just pull this up. He also has convictions for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon in 2008, probation violation in 2005, giving false name in 98 and 99, false statements or writings in 97, disorderly conduct in 93. As far as arrests with us, he's got a aggravated battery from 2021, that's 21 CP 197153, that actually involves a different victim. He has the case that I just referred to earlier, 21 SC 177970, which involves the same victim, probation violation in 2014, and a battery family violence arrest. And I need to check to see the date on that, as well as a simple battery in 93 and an aggravated assault in 92 that was dismissed.
I just want to confirm the 21 SC ending in 970. Isn't that the indicted case from the CP?
Yes, no, that is actually 2 different cases.
Two
So the
different
21 SC case was originally a 19 SC case that was null prossed and re-indicted.
I
from
see.
The 2018 incident.
All right.
Yeah. So those are actually 2 different cases, 2 different victims. And he's actually out on currently on a $15,000 bond on that aggravated battery with the different victim.
All right. And so what's the bond recommendation for each case?
All right. So starting from the top, position 13, which is the first in time, August 15th, 2021, we are asking for a $5,000 cash bond. The next incident, position 11, from March 23rd, 2022, we are asking for a $5,000 cash bond. Position 12, which is the last incident, March 24th, 2022, we are asking for a $5,000 cash bond. We are further asking for the conditions of no further contact with Antoinette Davis, which has already been given in a prior case, but we're asking for it again. We are further asking that he stay away from 896 Hollywood Road Northwest, and also that he have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We are also asking that this stay away apply to their children ages 6 and 3 due to the violent nature of these offenses and the continuing nature of these offenses. The part that troubles the state the most, and just to kind of give a timeline here, is we had our aggravated battery where he was released on a bond, as well as for a number of offenses on April 6, 2021. Within 5 months, less than 5 months of his release on that case, he went to the rooming house of Miss Antoinette Davis on August 15th, and then tried to force her to sign an affidavit changing her story about a shooting incident that occurred involving their children, which is the case from the year previous. When she refused, he became angry, grabbed her by the neck, pushed her head down, which then hit the floor, pounded her head against the hand against the door, causing a laceration to her hand and finger. And she also sustained injuries to her neck and cheek area. This was then followed up in March 23rd of 2022, with an argument between the two about an upcoming domestic violence court case. During that time, he became upset, grabbed her neck and hair, and punched her twice in the face. And then the following day, on March 24th, 2022, she was asleep in bed when she heard loud pounding. She heard the defendant's voice stating, "Bitch, open this door before I kick it down." He eventually did kick the door down, made entry, grabbed her, slammed her against the floor and into the wall, began throwing objects, and then he bit her left and right hand, causing visible injuries. Officers were able to observe bruising to her left elbow and both hands where she was bitten by the defendant. So what we have here is not only a pattern of some serious violence, but what we also have in conjunction is a just persistent, relenting violation of a stay away order that was issued some time ago by the courts telling him to stay away from this victim. And also the violence is tied to current cases that they have open in court, where he is basically trying to intimidate her and influence her to drop these cases or change the nature of these cases. And when she refuses to do so, he beats her some more. So, I mean, this hits probably every IALA factor we got at this point. We feel that he is both a risk to the community, a risk to this victim in particular, a risk of reoffense. Clearly, there's a pattern of intimidation here, and there is a history that leads us to believe he is not a good risk on bond and will not return to court if he is called. So for all of those reasons, I know this is a $15,000 cash bond, but we believe, quite frankly, it is sufficient given this violent history. That's all for the state.
Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Antonio Stevens, is 49 years old. He is a lifelong resident of Atlanta and the state of Georgia. He shares 3 minor children, a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 6-year-old with the alleged victim. He is currently employed, but he tells me he's trying to start his own moving company business. He has been in a relationship with the alleged victim for the past 18 years, he tells me, and they have been married for over 4 years. He denies the allegations as stated by the prosecutor, and he says that his wife sometimes forgets things that have really happened, and she has made some allegations which are totally untrue based on some of the issues that she has, mental issues that she has from time to time. And she does have issues with forgetting, Your Honor. I believe he said that she should be here. I did try getting in contact with her, but I was unable to. My understanding was that she was going to be at the courthouse. So I don't know if she is there, Your Honor.
I don't know. There's no one on the Zoom by that name.
I do not believe she's on the Zoom, Your Honor. My understanding was that she was going to actually physically go to the jail.
Okay.
And he,
That's no one in the gallery, so.
yes, he tells me, Your Honor, that there is somewhere else that he can stay. He can actually stay with his mom, and that is his plan going forward. Giving him a bond of 15,000, a cash bond is essentially no bond for him. He's definitely not in a position to pay anything close to that, Your Honor. So that just means he's going to be locked up until his case is come up for trial, because he's definitely not in a position to post that kind of bond. And I would ask the court to take that into consideration. I do understand and acknowledge that there is some history, but he has an explanation for what has been happening between them, Your Honor. I can't go into all of it here on the Zoom, but he does have some reasons as to why they have been having some of the issues that they have been having, Your Honor. And I would ask the court to take into consideration the longevity of their relationship, the fact that they share 3 minor children in setting his bond, and he has stated that he does have somewhere else he can stay. So they do not have to be in touch with each other. Also, Your Honor, these cases happened some time ago. They are not recent.
I just want to confirm one thing. Mr. Howard, if you can confirm, does he have an open felony case from September 20th, 2022?
Yes, he going to felony court now. They haven't seen him yet, but he should be in there sometime.
Okay. Thank you. The state's request is granted. It's a $5,000 cash bond on each case. It's a total of $15,000 cash bond only. No further contact with Antoinette Davis. No further contact with Lola Davis. No further contact with the 3 minor children unless he goes through a separation or superior court proceeding. I believe there was a defects management order issued by Judge Barwick, and that's something he can address with the court at that time with regards to contact with the minor children. But that order could supersede this bond order once it's reissued. But at the present time, no further contact. He's not allowed to call or see Miss Davis, Miss Antoinette, and Miss Lola Davis, or the children via phone, in person, through any computer or cell phone device, as well as on social media or through a third party. If he attempts to communicate with them from the jail, those calls will be monitored and will result in a revocation of his bond in its entirety. No alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. And we will address the cases on October 4th. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Did she?
Yeah.
You heard me, Your Honor?
Position 8, Poindexter.
Mr. Poindexter has a case of, no, I just saw it. Just give me a moment. Yes, here it is. Position number 8, and that is for criminal trespass and willful obstruction, allegedly at the West End Model Station in Fulton County, case number 22 CR 0064001C. This is from a September 20th, 2022 incident, and this is State versus Jaquil Quareed Poindexter. Mr. Poindexter, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Mr. Tucson, any priors?
Third arrest, 2018 failure to appear, 2018 suspended registration.
Thank you. Ms. Duncan?
Yes, additionally, Your Honor, I did see a 2020 FTA out of Gwinnett for that 2018 case. This did occur at the West End MARTA station at 680 Lee Street Northwest in Atlanta. This defendant was told by MARTA police not to come back onto the property. And a few minutes later, after being told not to come back onto the property, the defendant walked back onto the property and approached the officer who had told him to leave and insisted that he needed to come back onto the property. And the officer told him no, because he couldn't be there. He was handcuffed and taken into custody. We have a concern about the risk of reoffense here because clearly, given his actions, he was reoffending after being told not to come there, and flight risk concerns, given that he has that recent FTA. Given all the factors present and the circumstances surrounding this case, the state is going to be asking for a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. That's $1,000 for the criminal trespass and $2,000 for the obstruction. No further violent contact with Officer H. Smith from the MARTA PD because he did snatch away from him in an aggressive manner after being detained. We want him to stay away from that MARTA West End station. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. Nothing further from the state.
All right, thank you. I was going through the notes. I don't see, I wish they would stop putting down their suspension dates, but they don't. Okay. Ms. Kim, I'm going to issue a $1,500 signature bond on each count. That's a $3,000 signature bond for pretrial services. He is to, I'm not sure if they kept him away from West End MARTA or whether he kept them away from all MARTA property. So what I'm going to do is he has to stay away from the West End MARTA station. He cannot enter that particular station to use any of their facilities, including the bathroom, the parking lots, the phones, whatever facilities they have for transit passengers or consumers. He is not allowed at West End MARTA station. He's also to stay away from all MARTA property in accordance with any active suspensions. He'll report to pretrial once a month. If he gets arrested again, please be sure to bring $3,000 because that will be your bond the next time around. At least. Understood? Mr. Poindexter, your next court date will be sent to your mailing address. Please make sure that within 30 days of being released, that you update the court with your current address so that we can send you notice of your next court date.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Law, it was through signature bond through pretrial, correct?
That's correct. Thank you.
1,000. Okay, thank you. Position 6, Holston.
Mr. Halston, this is Samuel Halston, case 22 CR 006-398E, accused of battery, domestic violence involving one Anissa Taylor from September 20th, 2022. Mr. Halston, you've been advised of your right to remain silent and your attorney is going to be Ms. Hogue. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, 2016 DUI conviction.
All right. Ms. Duncan?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident did occur at 144 Moreland Avenue Northwest in Atlanta. The state is going to be requesting a $3,500 surety bond in this case. And no further contact with the victim in this case, Miss Anissa Taylor, ANISSA Taylor, common spelling. Third party child contact, and stay away from the incident location. 1 day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations. In this case, Your Honor, we do have a concern about intimidation of the witness and a possible risk of reoffense in this case, given that it is indicated in the facts from the warrant that these parties are married, and he did elbow her in the face, causing a visible injury during an altercation. They do have children, so we request that that third party be there to mediate the contact between them. However, given the facts and the other factors that we believe are present in this case, we think a $3,500 surety bond is more than reasonable in this case. So there's nothing further from the state.
All right, thank you. Ms. Hope, the bond's going to be set at $3,500. It is going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. He will attend and complete a 1 day anger awareness program. No further contact with Anissa Taylor. He's to stay 200 yards away from her and not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. He's also to stay away from the 144 Moreland Avenue location. He may go there one time only to retrieve his personal belongings. After that, he would need to update the court with his new mailing address within 30 days of being released. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. He will report to pretrial once a month. I will allow for third-party contact with the minor children in question, which means that a third party, like a grandparent or a mutual friend, may make arrangements for him to see his children, but he himself cannot have any contact with Ms. Taylor or go to her home. Any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Position 3, Castillo.
Eric David Castillo is case number 22 CR 006390G. Mr. Castillo has been accused of battery, domestic violence from July 10, 2022, involving one Ms. Ayana Reed. Mr. Castillo, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. McLeod. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest. Last was 2011. It says threats, extortion, and disorderly conduct. This is out of Florida. Charges were dropped.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Duncan?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident did occur on July 10th, 2022 at 3209 Wellington Walk Southwest in Atlanta. In this case, Your Honor, we are requesting a $3,500 surety bond. In this case, we do have a concern about intimidation of the witness or a danger to this particular victim or the risk of reoffense. The parties are married in this case, and they do share children. It's indicated by the warrant that there was an attack on the victim in this case, Miss Ayana Reed, AYANNA Reed, RIED, where she was dragged down the stairs by her husband after a verbal dispute that he started became physical. Officers did know that they saw the visible carpet burns on her body from being dragged down the stairs. So we do have that concern for this particular victim and the risk of reoffense, given that the nature of the allegations alleged. We're going to ask for no further contact. We were able to make contact with Ms. Reed. She stated that he does no longer live there, but she does not want any further contact with him in any way. She stated that she will be filing for divorce, and we'd ask for that third-party contact, stay away from that location in accordance with her wishes. One-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. Nothing further from the state.
All right. Just let me clarify some housekeeping matters. This was a North Carolina arrest. Is that correct? Or do we have a North Carolina hold? I had a hit confirmation. So Mr. Howard, can you clarify for me if there is a hold on Mr. Castillo?
Hold on.
I'm not aware of a hold on.
Hold on. No, I just saw the APD hold, which is for this charge.
Okay, so I'm going to assume it was on this charge. Just on the back of the warrant, it has a Hart County Jail at 155 North Carolina Street in, oh, sorry, not North Carolina, in Hartwell, Georgia.
The Hart County hold? I don't see that.
No,
HART.
Your Honor, I am seeing a hit confirmation in the jail record, but it looks like the hit confirmation is from APD.
For this case?
Yes, it says wanted person, name of confirmer, confirming agency APD.
Okay. Understood. Ms. McCann?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 30 years old. He has been living in the Atlanta area for more than 8 years. He is gainfully employed as a barber. He shares a daughter with the alleged victim, Your Honor. He denies the allegations as stated by the prosecution. In fact, he tells me that his soon-to-be ex-wife came home at 4 o'clock in the morning. He was feeding his daughter when she got into an argument with him when he asked her where she had been. It is unusual for a wife to just walk into her home at 4 o'clock in the morning without at least saying something to her husband. They are married, as to where she was. And that was what started an argument between them. She got angry and she pulled a knife at him. He was simply defending himself. He had to get a hold of her because she started to attack him with a knife. He voluntarily left the location, Your Honor. He decided that things were not good there, and he left, and he has been living away from that house ever since the alleged incident. This was not because anyone told him that he should or anything. He did not like what happened on that occasion when he was attacked by a knife, so he left. As pretrial stated, he really has no history because he had had a previous arrest and those charges were dismissed. He is simply someone who has been trying to live their life, do their best, take care of their child, and he found himself in this situation because he was actually attacked. He was not there when the police came to give his version of events. So a warrant was put out for his arrest and he was arrested. I am going to ask the court to consider giving him a signature bond because I do believe that he's a good candidate for that. He really does not wish to have any contact with his ex-wife, although he does want to see his child. And since they are married and that is his legal child, he does have a right to do that, Your Honor. And he would be comfortable with third-party transfers of the child for visitation, but he doesn't wish to have any contact with the alleged victim. Thank you, Your Honor.
Does he live in Fulton County?
I believe so, Your Honor, but I'm not sure. We can ask him. Mr. Castillo, do you live in Fulton County?
Not at the moment. Not right now.
Where do you live?
Villa Rica.
That's where I thought. Is that in Fulton County or Hart County?
Oh, I just moved there. I don't
That's
know.
Carroll County.
Carroll County. All
Villa
right.
Rica, yeah, that's like near.
Villa Rica is in Carroll County.
Yeah.
All right. I just see it on the map. I don't know which county. Okay. All right. Bond is going to be set at $5,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. He will have no further contact with Ayanna Reed, and he will update the court and the records with his current address. So he may give his current address to Deputy Francois there, who can forward that to our litigation manager, Miss Holly Bridgewater. The address in Villa Rica. He will attend and complete at least 8 weeks of anger management classes while he's out on bond, and he will begin those classes within 60 days of being released. This will be something done at his expense and not at the expense of pretrial. He will have no further violent contact with, no further contact with Ayanna Reed and no violent contact with his minor children. He is to stay away from 3209 Wellington Walk in Atlanta, Georgia. I don't believe he has any personal belongings to collect since he's already maintained a residence at a different location. So there is no one-time visit. Let me see, what else?
There's a child, Your Honor, the minor child that they share, and he is the legal father.
I know, I understand, but he cannot return to Wellington Walk. He must maintain at least 200 yards away from that location. I will allow for third-party transfer of the child. So a grandparent or a mutual friend or relative may facilitate the transfer between the children. This, of course, can be superseded by any subsequent domestic action that's filed in Superior Court. No illegal drugs, no weapons and no firearms, and no alcohol.
Mr. Castillo, I see you want to ask a question. Is that about your bond?
I just want to say something.
Is that about your bond?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
She's living in my house. Where she resides is under my name.
Mr. Castillo, are you still married to Ayanna Reed?
Yes, ma'am.
So when you both are married, it's considered community joint household marital property. So there is no me and mine in a marriage until you go through a divorce.
Even if her name is not on the lease?
Even if the name is not on the lease.
All right.
Marriage tends to do that.
I understand.
All right. Next court date will be sent to his address in Villa Rica as soon as he gives it to us. And if he fails to appear in court, a bench warrant will be issued for his arrest. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge, position 6, Mr. Halston has a question.
Yes.
Your Honor, my business before the court is concluded. May I be excused?
Oh, Ms. McLeod, it was short but sweet. Yes, you may leave. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Halston, may I help you?
Yes, Your Honor. I just have a question. Me and my wife, we currently live together in that apartment. And there's been times we had a disagreement and she would always go to like a friend.
Mr. Halston, please refrain from talking about your case at all. I understand that there is a no contact provision. I will certainly talk about that with you after this.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, if both of you are on the lease or if you only on the lease, there's entirely up to the both of you how you want to take care of your rent obligations.
So that's
But you cannot communicate with her. You have to do it through a third party.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, or through, okay, that's it. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Yeah, criminal cases tend to do that. All right, I'm sorry, Francois, you were saying anything else?
Yes, I do have a quick announcement. For position 10, they waive their appearance.
Okay.
Also, position 16, bonded out.
Okay, position 16 is released. Okay. What about position 1? Kelly
Your Honor,
Adam.
that is my case. That is an MH issue upon which we are going to be asking for an evaluation and a reset to the 9/29 competency calendar.
Okay.
We'll just ask, she does have a bond, so we'll just ask for that bond to remain in place.
Okay, so you're waiving first appearance?
Yes, we are.
All right, so first appearance is waived, bond remains in place. The case is reset to 9/29 competency calendar, and that's for Kelly Adams.
What is that bond amount?
Oh, shoot.
It's $500 surety.
And you say it's reset to the competency calendar for what day? The 29th?
September 29th, and also put in there no further contact with Lakeisha Lewis, who is the owner of the alleged phone. Alleged owner of the phone, owner of the, whichever.
Yeah,
word it was.
I don't think she knows her anyway, Your Honor, but yes.
Okay, so
And
that leads us, I'm sorry, you go ahead, Ms. Hogue.
I'll send the request for the evaluation, the ordinary thing to Ms. Bridgewater.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. I have one case in which the defendant's presence has been waived. Is that Ms. Kim's case? Scott Saccarello?
Yes, Your Honor. That is my case, Your Honor.
All right. Did Mr. Castillo have a question?
No, only thing is, Judge, she doesn't have the address, but I'm gonna be, I guess he's gonna try to get the information and then I'll just send it over to Ms. Bridgewater.
Or he has 30 days within being released to come to the courthouse and update us with his current mailing address.
Or he said he wants to give his email address.
I need his mailing address where he lives. His email address is wonderful. He can give it to you and you can forward it to Ms. Bridgewater in the chat. But I need his actual address where he lives in Villa Rica. All right, any questions?
No.
All right, thank you. Before we do the waiver, position 1, Kelly Adams is further notice to 9/29 competency calendar. Position 2 is a $1,000 signature bond through the jail, further notice. Position 3 is a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial, further notice. Position 4 is 1,500 surety bond, October 4th. Position 5 is a 3,500 cash bond only, 10/4. Position 6 is a 3,500 signature bond through pretrial. for the notice. Position 7, it's a 3,500 signature bond for pretrial for the notice. Position 8 is a 3,000 signature bond for pretrial for the notice. Position 9, Rickett, is a $3,000 surety bond plus ankle monitoring for the notice to October 4. Position 10 we'll address shortly. Position 11, position 11, 12, and 13 are $5,000 cash bond only for the notice to October 4th. Position 4, that was 11, 12, 13. Position 14 is a $1,000 surety bond for the notice October 4th. 15 trailers, a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial for the notice. And position 16 is released and further notice. All right, we're going to go ahead and address Miss Kim's client's case, Mr. Scott. And Miss Kim, you have waived his appearance. Is Scott Sakaro, 22 CR 006394A, accused of battery from September 20th, 2022. Any priors, Mr. Tucson?
26 total. History out of Virginia, New Jersey, New York. Hold on.
Miss Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, we are asking for a $4,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, Pooya, Pooya, Naraji, and I may be butchering that name and I apologize, Naraghi. Stay away from the El Valle restaurant, 800 Peachtree Street Northeast, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. So the state's concern here is the defendant is a multi-state offender. He has 7 cycles in New Jersey, 1 cycle in Florida, 2 cycles in New York, and 7 cycles in Virginia. We're showing an arrest as recently as June 30th, 2022 for assault, petite larceny in 2022 in Virginia, false identification in 2018, disorderly in 2018, battery in 2013, assault and battery in 2012, drug offenses in 2012, terroristic threats in 2007. So those are kind of the pertinent history. And in this case, as he was being escorted out because he had come in for a drink, and the victim knew him because the defendant is residentially challenged. But as he was walking him out, the defendant just kind of hauled off and struck the victim in the face, chipping 2 of his teeth. And this was captured, I believe, on video. Let me just double check on that, which did show that the defendant did strike him just with no seeming provocation or no reason. And so for those reasons, we are asking for a bond. Our particular concern is mainly for the fact of not only the violence, but also just his lack of any seeming ties to the community whatsoever, with him bouncing around as recently as Virginia in 3 months ago. Thank you.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Scott, he is 58 years old, Your Honor, and he has been residentially challenged. He does not have currently any employment. So we would like to actually ask for $2,500 surety bond just remain as set instead of increasing that to $5,000. And we requested social worker services to have a visit so that way he can get some behavioral health evaluation done. Thank you.
Bond remains at 2,500 surety, no contact with Pooya, Naraghi, and to stay away from the El Valle, that's EL space BALLE restaurant. I can't remember the address. Was it 23 Peachtree Street or 230 Peachtree Street?
800 Peachtree
Oh,
Street.
there you go. I'm so off then. Okay. 800 Peachtree Street in Atlanta, Georgia. No alcohol, no drugs, and no weapons and firearms. And Ms. Kim, if an evaluation is required, please go ahead and submit the necessary documentation.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. I understand that Mr. Sakaro is residentially challenged. So hopefully if he does make bond, he's able to give us some contact information. All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Francois, I think we have concluded. thank you so much.
Yes, Judge, we're completed, and I also sent the address to Ms. Holly. Did you
Ms.
get it?
Holly, did you get Mr. Castillo's address on the chat?
I did. Thank you.
You're
All right.
welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Francois.
Now,
I'll see
what
you
I
later.
what I did not get, give me that bond amount on position 10 again.
Position 10 is a 2,500 surety bond. Okay. Before the host closes out the Zoom, you may want to write down that address because you won't be able to.
I'm writing it as we speak.
Okay. All right.
Your Honor, I would like to make a notation about Miss Adams, position number 1. Apparently, she refused representation of public defenders, so we will not be able to file a waiver for her.
I understand that Ms. Hogue is representing her and she waived. So
Yes.
I think since the competency issue is in place, I'm going to allow for the waiver and subject to the evaluation. Okay. All right. That concludes our case. Ms. Holly, did you get the address?
I have it. Yes, ma'am.
All right. We are adjourned then. Everybody have a great week and I'll see you next week. Take care.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Bye-bye.
Tomorrow, actually, for SAP, some of you. All right. Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.